Hello there.
To Doctor Who Time and Space episode 147.
Here we are again. Another Saturday's gone.
147th week. No, probably more than that.
Probably,
since the first episode.
Yeah. Well, we've been busy, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've been busy. I was before we get on to the main part of the show, I couldn't believe earlier on when we were writing down all the episodes that we've been watching since we started doing the randomizer. We're actually at 52,
yeah.
It's astounding.
And we have been doing it for more than a year. Some of them have took 2 weeks to watch.
That is true, yeah. So, anyway, welcome to Doctor Who Time and Space.
Yes, with me, Lewis Moon.
And me, D. Cool.
Okay, Dr. Cool.
Dr. Cool. I am actually a doctor of cool things. Yeah.
Coolness and cool things.
So what do we have on this week's show, Mr. Moon?
Well, we are talking about some of the most underrated Doctor Who episodes by the people of the public.
Okay. We will also be doing a review of the David Tennant episode, New Earth.
We will be having another round of Who to Face.
We'll be pressing the magic randomizer.
And we will start off with news in a few minutes. But what have you been doing? Anything Doctor Who related this week?
Have I done anything Doctor Who related?
Have you watched any here, or apart from New Earth, or has it just been that?
I think it's literally just been that. I mean, I've been watching other things. I watched the first episode of The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Not the first episode of the second half of season 6. I watched Vinyl. It's a new thing that HBO have put together about music biz. And that's probably about all I've watched actually this week. So no, I haven't. I mean, but having said that, that's not unusual because my watching of Who usually coincides with when I'm with you watching
on
Who.
The randomizer, usually
Does, yeah. That's why you're always such a brain box and I'm always a bit of a thickie on this show.
Well, I've been doing quite a lot of Who related things. Starting off, now this may be a bit of a bit of terrible news to you fans. You think I'm a criminal probably because I've never watched the Aztecs before. And it's such a critically acclaimed one. And when I was in Forbidden Planet on Monday, I had to buy it. And I also picked up Reign of Terror, which has 2 animated episodes. So 2 buys for £15.98 overall.
Not bad. Have you started watching either of them yet?
No, but I will start this.
You criminal.
I will start very soon. But this week I did finish the Time Monster, and that I might put that in underrated episodes later. And I also watched Sleep No More again last night.
I mean, thinking about it also, I know we sometimes plug these a bit later on the show, but let's do it at the beginning as we can.
Yes.
You also posted today, didn't you, a couple of videos. First up, your review of the Patrick Troughton recently recovered underwater menace.
Yes, seeing me moan about fish people.
And also what's the other video that you posted just a few moments ago?
A trailer for the second half of season 5 of Emily May.
Okay, so plenty coming up in terms of your YouTube channel, really, then,
yes.
Isn't it? So you've got not only your Figure Adventures.
Coming in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. You've got your reviews, because I imagine probably a review of Time Monster will follow. Yeah.
Yes, that will come
in a similar
very
format.
soon.
Yeah.
Depending on what the randomizer story is today. If it's a New Who one, we'll do it this week. If it's not, we'll do it another time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes.
So does that anything else to report for your comings and goings this week?
I don't think so in Doctor Who related news.
Okay, well, should we crack on with the actual Doctor Who related news then?
Yes.
Is there any?
There is actually.
Yeah.
So first up, 2016 Doctor Who Comics Day announced.
Okay.
So Titan Comics have announced this year's global Doctor Who Comics Day event which will take place on Saturday, July 9th, 2016. Doctor Who Comics Day is a global event inspired by Titan Comics' Doctor Who comic books, which are very good. In its third year, the event is set to be bigger, with new comics and collections, signings and events across the globe. 2015's event tied in with the special, brand new 5-part weekly Doctor Who comics crossover series by Paul Cornell and Neil Edwards, and saw comic readers get the chance to celebrate Doctor Who Comics Day at over 2,900 locations, including comic shops, bookstores, and retail chains and libraries. And I think the closest to us is Forbidden Planet in London.
In London, or not the Southampton one?
London.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And Paul Cornell was there, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Or he is this year.
Who knows? I mean, we usually make a trek up to London, don't we, at some point during the summer? Maybe we should do it on July the 9th this year.
Maybe we should. Maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe.
I thought.
Pretty busy.
I thought we were doing it in April.
Yeah, we talked about it, didn't we? Could do. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how we get on. Once you've done something weird on the news feed, where everything's gone big. Yeah, you like your comics, though, don't you? Your Doctor Who comics.
I do, yeah. I mean, I don't get them individually, or I get the Doctor Who comic collections.
Yeah. They come out every month, don't they?
Yeah, and I think they're stopping them and making them with Tales from the TARDIS. So I think next month, to follow the entire journey of the Titan comics and gets year 2. Year 2 goes in Tales of the TARDIS, so I don't think they'll do the Doctor Who comic that I get. So it will lead in to the Tales from the TARDIS issue, whatever it is, where it's got the 10th, 11th and 12th Doctor's first comic of year 2. That's
a bit annoying, isn't it? Does it make much difference or not really?
It doesn't make much difference, really. But what was I going to say? The thing is, with Titan comics, there's so much of it now. I mean, they've got 5 Doctors they're doing now. They've got 10th, 11th, 12th, which were the original 3. Then they started doing 8th Doctor adventures.
That's interesting.
Wait, no, did they do 8th Doctor? No, not 8th Doctor. Forget I said that. Okay. They started doing 9th Doctor adventures.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't originally intended to be a full series, but now it's become an ongoing series after the popularity of 5-part comic Weapons of Past Destruction.
Okay.
And now they're starting doing a 4th Doctor one.
And who can blame them?
And Sarah Jane, I think. So
I guess if you look at it in terms of, I mean, you've said this before on the show, but in terms of the Doctor Who image, people still, even now, think of Tom Baker, don't they?
They do.
He's probably still the most pictured Doctor, I think. If you said to somebody, draw a picture of Doctor Who, I'm sure most people would draw Tom Baker.
I've said that a lot.
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly that phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. What things I'm getting old, so I forget what I said.
What chain of comics would you like to?
Probably Tom Baker, because
I don't think they're out yet.
In my eyes, Tom Baker is probably the most visually stunning one. Yeah. And I think if somebody was to draw a picture of a Doctor, they'd probably draw a picture of Tom Baker. And I will probably say that again before the end of the show, just for kicks.
Probably will.
So, do we have any other news or anything else to comment on?
Yeah. Do you have anything else to comment on?
Not on the comics, no.
Okay. So, most loved shows on iPlayer. Doctor Who has been voted number 4 in a list of most loved shows on BBC iPlayer. The list has been collected from audience members clicking on the heart button
I never knew there was a
I
hard
never
button.
knew there was a hard button.
Yeah.
On BBC iPlayer. The button was introduced in March 2015 and allows the audience to instantly show love for a programme. Oh, I think I saw that when Series 9 was on, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I never noticed that. And I watched, big chunks of Series 9.
It was only on the Doctor Who website, though, that I saw it.
Right.
So. Top of the list. Well, I won't tell you what the top of the list was. I'll talk about it in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 1 is EastEnders soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
The Next Step is second.
What's that?
CBBC programme, which I'm surprised it came above quite a lot of things.
Okay. What actually is it then? I never even know that.
It's some sort of dancing programme.
Okay.
There's nothing good on CBBC anymore.
Yeah, that's just because you're getting older. That's probably why.
Not necessarily. There used to be some really good programmes, and if you look back on them, they're good, like Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
But they're all Doctor Who related programmes.
That's probably what it is. There's no Who related thing.
Match of the Day is third.
Yeah.
Doctor Who came fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Strictly Come Dancing came fifth. Casualty came sixth. Great British Bake Off came seventh. Which I'm surprised it came that low.
Do you think it's because there's some programmes that people automatically watch live?
Maybe.
I think that's probably why Strictly Come Dancing is low as it is, because it's a sort of programme people watch there straight away live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Apprentice, Poldark, Sherlock, Council House Crackdown, which I don't know what the heck that is, and War and Peace.
Sherlock did pretty well, didn't it, really, to get on there, since it was only
only had
episode.
one episode of this.
I mean, that's probably why EastEnders... I don't know how they work these things out, but it's not surprising EastEnders would have had most, because it's on 4 times a week, is it?
4 times a week,
4 times a week.
Mondays, Tuesdays,
all
Thursdays,
the way through the year.
And there have been a few times where there was one week when EastEnders was on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is never on, 2 episodes on the Thursday and no episode on the Friday, which, to start with, this isn't an EastEnders podcast.
We do that one after this one, don't we?
Yeah, even though you don't watch it.
No, I don't.
I'd have to do it with someone else.
So, anything else to say on that?
Do you have anything else to say?
I'll tell you what I will just say very briefly. It's slightly unrelated to it, but the iPlayer link brings me onto it. Sad to see BBC Three go.
Yes.
I guess, I mean, the link there is not the... When we say BBC Three's gone, BBC Three's gone as a live channel, and it's become...
Which we don't see the point of.
No, it's become a little bit more like a sort of Netflix thing, but without very many things on it. But isn't that what Class is going to sit on?
Yes,
it's going
is.
to sit on that platform, isn't it?
Is.
So, don't know. I'm not overly impressed with what I saw on it. I think there's a great opportunity for BBC to maximise streaming, and I think I said that last week. But I don't think the BBC Three handful of programmes available is it.
No.
But we're sorry to see BBC Three go. It was always a good channel.
It always was, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Series 1 of Doctor Who Modern Series is the most brought drama. So Doctor Who Series 1 has been named as the most frequently brought drama in the entire 40-year history of BBC Worldwide's showcase event.
Well, sir.
BBC Worldwide is the commercial arm of the BBC, which sells the best British TV shows from the BBC and UK independent producers around the world. To celebrate 40 years of Showcase, BBC Worldwide has released the new data based on the number of times the title has been brought rather than the number of territories it was brought by, which shows how series continue to interest broadcasters time and again. The most purchased drama series has been named as Doctor Who Series 1, starring Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor and broadcast in 2005. The series has been attracted 629 buyers from countries including Bahrain, Hong Kong, France, and Chile. Doctor Who was one of the titles screened to buyers at the very first showcase. The most bought comedy programme is the first series of the classic sitcom Keeping Up Appearances.
What?
Which is which has been bought 992 times over the 40-year period.
Yeah.
The most bought natural history title is The Life of Mammals, with 958 sales, and the most bought factual entertainment series is Top Gear Series 9, broadcast in 2006, which has clocked up 282 sales.
That's astounding, isn't it?
Yes.
It surprises me out of all of the series that's the one that people really go for as well.
It is weird, yeah.
Not as a bad series by any means, but it's not the best.
No.
Okay, any more news?
So let's talk a bit about Legacy. Tiny Rebel Press have released the Husbands of River Song level in the official Legacy game. The game, now in its third year with over 2 million installs, including me, is played by nearly 2 million fans and has had over 100 hours of playable content. The new level is in response to customer demand and includes new costumes, new allies, new enemies, and new backgrounds to the game. So,
can I ask you something about the games?
Yeah.
I mean, the actual only real link to Doctor Who is the characters that appear in it, isn't it? And the things that you open. In terms of gameplay, it's not really relevant to Doctor Who at all, is it?
Not really. I
now,
mean,
what would you rather see? This type of sort of Tetris-like game, or would you rather see some form of actual Doctor Who playable content?
I mean, I really, you can change the settings on the gems to look like Daleks, Cybermen,
oh, can you?
different things
But
which are Doctor Who related.
Do you remember that game? They cancelled it because it also wasn't popular.
The adventure games?
Oh, there is.
No, not the adventure games.
Those weren't brilliant.
Oh,
really good.
Well, no. I can't remember what it was called.
Was it like called Doctor Who Universe or something like that, wasn't it? Or
Doctor Who World or something?
Something like that, which had the potential to be really good, but it was just a bit samey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I tell you what the other ones you mentioned, these adventure games, they were brilliant. They were really, really good. And it's sad because you don't seem to really get hold of them anymore. It looks like they've stripped them all off.
So here is some new content. You can see them in the show notes. River Song, Doctor and River Song, Thingy, and
the robot guy.
That's the first level.
Then you got Matt Smith, Matt Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
And Greg Davies.
I know you really like it, don't you? That Legacy game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Anything else?
There's quite a lot this week, actually.
Yeah.
There's 15% off at Lavazzi. I'll tell you in a sec. You can find the website in the show notes. Lavazzi is offering a 15% discount on all Doctor Who products this weekend. The company's produces products based on Doctor Who, including the 4th Doctor's scarf and the 7th Doctor's jumper. The sale lasts from today until Sunday 21st. Simply use the promotional code Doctor Who 15 to get 15% off.
There's a picture of an umbrella on there, which is fantastic, actually. I really, really like that. It's sort of like, is that Scarlet, presumably, is it? That's what it looks like.
I think so.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? Really, really good.
So Candy Jar Books have released further details on the latest book in their Lethbridge Stewart series, Moonblink, which has been written by Sadie Miller and due to be published in April.
Are they about the Brigadier or about the daughter?
I think you're getting confused with Professor Travers. Oh, no. No, Lethbridge Stewart. Yeah, it's about Brigadier.
Yeah, okay. So not his daughter.
Kate.
No. Yeah.
So, Moonblink headlines the 2016 series of Lethbridge Stewart novels and is available to pre-order from the Candy Jar Books website. It is followed later in the year by The Showstoppers by Jonathan Cooper, and The Grandfather Infestation by John Peel, with a further 3 novels due to be released in the autumn.
Excellent.
So it's Moonblink. You can see the full description for it in the show notes.
I love the look at them. They look really retro.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, they look really cool. I like them.
One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Capaldi is in the complete Shakespeare walk. So Peter Capaldi is to feature in a special series of films marking 400 years since the playwright William Shakespeare's death. The complete walk has been organised by Shakespeare's Globe, the theatre complex based on London's South Bank and the location of the 2007 Doctor Who story, The Shakespeare Code. The walk, held over the spring weekend of 23rd to 24th of April, will feature a series of short films shown on 37 screens along a 22.5-mile route on the Thames embankment between Westminster and the Town Bridge.
Where's that? Oh, that's brilliant. Because sorry, a little private conversation here, but I'm happy to share it with you. We were talking about when we go to London. That was where I wanted to take you. It was down the embankment, basically between down to Tower Bridge. Maybe we'll have to do it then. Maybe we'll have to. Okay. Although 23rd, 24th. When's that? That's the weekend before Easter, isn't it?
I thought Easter was in March, because Greedy Goblin.
Oh, you're right. It is. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That is after. Yeah. Okay. Ignore me completely. Yes. Yes, it is in March. Clever date. That's why I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor in cleverness.
So I think that's it for the news this week.
Yeah. I think you're right.
That's really important, anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
There's more news on doctorwhonews.net, or in the show notes, if you want to see more on either those things we talked about or the things that we didn't talk about because they weren't as important.
Okay.
But we had quite a lot of news, 6 or 7 pieces there.
Yeah. So moving on then to our first of our items, really, aside from the news.
Apart from the news, yeah.
Which is?
Underrated episodes. So it's our discussion this week.
So we're going to look at some episodes throughout classic and New Who.
Yes.
Yeah? Those that we actually quite like, that the general Doctor Who public aren't so fond of.
And there are probably quite a lot of them.
Yeah, probably are.
Next week, overrated episodes, you'll probably say Fear Her, even though it's still at second bottom. And Dalek.
Yeah, Dalek probably in there, and we'll save that for next week. So, underrated ones. Do you want to kick off on this?
Yeah, so should we go through each Doctor?
Okay.
And talk about episodes?
Okay, there's some that I actually don't know very much of William Hartnell's era, so you'll have to talk more about that. It's great, isn't it, when the older member of the duo has no idea about the first Doctor and the young Anne knows far more. But what do you reckon? What's underrated?
Okay, underrated. Let's think through. I mean, most of these ones are quite either overrated or at the same point as they are in general public. I quite have a charm for Edge of Destruction. I don't know where it comes. Oh, I know one that's underrated. Sensorites.
Okay. But certainly in terms of its imagery, I haven't seen the Sensorites. It's one that I do really like the idea of watching. But you're right. If you take the Dawn poll, it's quite low down, isn't it?
I mean, Sensorite. It isn't really the best episode, but I have it on DVD, and I've watched it once before, and it's quite good. It's better than people say it is, so that makes it an underrated episode.
What about if we're moving on to the Patrick Troughton news? Is there anything there that's underrated?
Are there anything you think are underrated?
The ones that I've seen haven't been underrated because they've been really highly rated. So, Web of Fear, highly rated. Enemy of the World, highly rated.
Is that highly rated?
Pretty highly, I think.
Yeah.
if I remember rightly from the Dawn poll. One of the ones we're seeing, War Games highly rated. So I don't know. I don't think there's any of the ones. I think all the ones are probably relatively high up. It's one of my favourite eras of what from what I've seen, and obviously big chunks of Patrick Troughton either I haven't seen or physically there's no way of being able to see because they don't exist anymore. But I wouldn't say that there's anything really in there that fits into the underrated category.
Let me think through. Moonbase, do you think that's underrated?
I think possibly it's a bit overrated actually. Moonbase.
Is it?
Yes.
I know one which is overrated, but I can't go into that now.
Yeah.
Is Invasion highly rated?
Pretty highly rated, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not sure there's much in there.
No.
But if you move on to Purgatory, then.
Well, I'm going to say the one I watched the other day, which is the Time Monster. Brilliant stuff. May sound a bit weird there, but brilliant stuff there in Time Monster. It's quite low in.
Yeah, it's quite low in the Dawn ratings.
Yeah.
Similarly, I've got one for Purgatory.
Yeah.
I bet you know what it's going to be.
I know what it's going to be.
Colony in Space.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely loved Colony in Space.
I absolutely love Time Monster.
I thought I would agree that possibly Colony that there's perhaps one episode too many in there, but it's a brilliant idea, really great story. So that would be one that I would, if I was listing 5 underrated episodes, almost certainly Colony in Space would be in there.
Almost certainly for me. I mean, with Colony in Space, I'm not as much as a fan of you as you are. And Time Monster, I don't know whether you'll be a fan or whether you won't be.
Yeah.
I think there's everything you want, and Benton's nudie at the end. And that's a bit weird.
Why is Benton nudie?
You'll find out. He turns into a baby, and then he turns back, and then he's nudie.
That's weird, isn't it?
I know.
We'll look forward to hearing about that on your review next week, perhaps.
Maybe.
So if we move into the Tom Baker era, what have we got there? I mean, a lot of that is really highly rated anyway.
I mean, Fontaine Experiment, would you say that
is really good. I don't remember it being that low in the.
I think it's somewhere near the middle, really.
Yeah, and maybe that's probably about right.
I suppose it is. Yeah.
I'm sure there must be some that's. I'll tell you one which I think you might think.
Yeah.
Invasion of Time.
Oh yeah.
Because I know you really like
it. It's
And that's relatively low, isn't it?
188. Which is very low, actually.
I don't like that one quite as much as you, I don't think. As we would have discussed recently on Behind the Sofa.
No, I don't think you do.
We have released that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that in some detail, didn't we, on Behind the Sofa. What about if you go into the latter parts of Tom Baker's era? I mean, are there particular episodes that jump out there?
Let me
think about the Romana years. Particular episodes there that jump out and make you think, actually, they were really, really good. And although people were sort of beginning to think the Doctor Who was not as strong as it had previously been.
Well, it's true. You're not lying there. Doctor Who wasn't as strong as it had previously been, but I can't really pick out any underrated episodes from the latter Tom Baker era.
Oh, okay. Let's move.
Because they're all good. But
let's move on then to.
If I was just going to say, I was just thinking, isn't Invisible Enemy quite there?
It is. Yeah, that's a good episode, isn't it?
That's a good episode.
Yeah.
That might be underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd support you on that one. Peter Davidson.
Oh, and Armageddon Factor as well,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, is an underrated Tom Baker episode. Peter Davidson.
Again, I mean, you know this era far better than me. I know it. I know it, and I would have grown up with it, and I would have watched a lot of it when I was little, but I don't remember it so well, other than the things that come from the randomizer.
Let's start with Snake Dance. I don't think that's very high. And I like that one. I like Snake Dance. Let me think through. Well, there are some really good ones, and there are quite a lot of very medium ones which deserve to come near the middle of charts.
Yeah. What about if we come on to Colin Baker? I actually think the whole Colin Baker era is actually a bit underrated.
I think so, yeah. Apart from Twin Dilemma, that deserves to be bottom. And it can't be any more underrated.
That's going to be coming in today's randomizer. I can sense it.
But Twin Dilemma and Time Lash. I mean, Time Lash. I know it's meant to be terrible, and it is a little bit. But I think it's better than people say it is.
I think it's. I think it probably is an era, although it's it's part of that 80s Doctor Who deterioration, sort of gradually speeding up faster and faster. I still think. I think. Well, actually, no. Probably. Let me take this back. I'm waffling now. But I think probably it's more rather than episodes. I think Colin Baker's an underrated Doctor.
Yeah. I mean, I think the most the top episode from Colin Baker's era is Vengeance on Varos, which that's quite a good episode. The last part of Trial of the Time Lord, that's quite underrated, in my opinion. Okay,
we're over to Mr. McCoy.
Let's skip the first series.
Yeah. Is there anything that's underrated in there? I don't really remember this era.
Let's skip Happiness Patrol.
By this time,
overrated is Greatest Show in the Galaxy, but we'll go into that next week.
I don't remember that much of Sylvester McCoy stuff because by that time I found the programme to be barely watchable when I was growing up.
And it was. Apart from the last series, really.
And that's not dissing Sylvester, because I think actually he's actually really strong as a Doctor, isn't he?
He is. Got a good not in the first series.
It's just the material he's got to play with is just poor, isn't it?
Yes. Let's think.
Good though.
All the good episodes from Sylvester McCoy's era are nearer the top. So I have one which is overrated, but that's next week. I don't think there are any underrated episodes from his era, but there are some very bad ones.
What about if we move on then to Paul McGann? I mean, it's difficult to really comment too much there because you've only really got the movie. Do you think the movie's over or underrated?
Underrated, maybe. No, actually, it's quite high in the charts. I think. No, about the same.
Yeah. Okay, so that takes us into New Who. That first and only Christopher Eccleston series. Is there anything there that's overrated?
Overrated.
Oh, sorry, we're on underrated, aren't we?
Underrated.
Yes, I was passing into next week.
Yeah. Underrated. Probably the Slitheen two-parter. Bit silly, but I like it.
I'd agree with you on that one actually, because that is relatively low, isn't
Not
it?
Boomtown. No. I hate Boomtown, but
what's it called? Can you remember?
Aliens of London, World War 3.
Yeah, no, I'd probably agree there.
Yeah.
David Tennant?
Let's think. Underrated. Maybe the one we watched today, actually.
Yeah. I'm in two minds about the one we watched today, so I'll come on to it in a minute. I think there's some overrated ones.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that next week. Matt Smith then.
Oh no, I know one which is underrated. Planet of the Dead.
Okay.
I like Planet of the Dead.
Have I seen that one?
No.
No? Okay.
Which you probably don't know what to make of the ones that I say are underrated and you've not seen. Because I'm probably wrong.
It might be interesting to see what my views are when we get to them in the randomizer one day. Over to Matt Smith's era. Is there anything there that is underrated? Again,
Night Terrors underrated.
I think Night Terrors is underrated.
Oh yeah, Night Terrors.
But there's bits in it that are really cringy.
Yeah.
Um,
Anything from Series 7? I'm thinking.
Oh, I know one that's definitely underrated.
What?
One with the gangers in it.
Oh yeah.
What's that called?
The Rebel Flesh Almost People.
Yeah, that is definitely underrated. I think that's a really strong one. I've only seen it once, to be fair.
I've seen it more than once.
Yes, but that's quite low in the Dawn ranking.
I think it's quite a good one. Yeah,
I really like that. Okay, which brings us on to Peter Capaldi. I tell you what I think. I think the whole of Series 8 was underrated.
Why?
Because a number of people...
What about Listen?
Just purely on the fact that as a series, there seems to be a lot of people that didn't necessarily like it. And I can't work out why, because it was just really, really
but then
strong.
they say they like Listen, they like Mummy on the Orient Express, they like Flatline.
Yeah. I think actually, although I don't think it's a fantastic episode, I think In the Forest of the Night it's underrated. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out.
I suppose so, just a tad underrated.
Yeah, I think there's really likeable bits in it.
Yeah.
Oh, tell you the main one.
What?
Kill the Moon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is.
You're good today.
I'm good. Yeah. Be rubbish next week. No, actually, I think next week is a lot easier.
I think
there's a lot of episodes that are overrated.
Yeah.
Underrated. Actually, if I was thinking of my top 5 based on what we've just talked through, I think I've probably only got 3, which is Colony in Space. The one we just mentioned, I've forgotten.
Kill the Moon.
And whatever the Matt Smith one was.
The Gangers.
The Gangers one. Yeah, they're probably the only 3 that I've thought.
What about the Silurian one? No, Slitheen one.
Yeah, maybe I'll have that as a 4th. That's probably it for me. I struggle to think of 5 for myself. Probably if we combine the 2 of them together, we'd have come up with it.
What about?
Because you'd be sliding that.
Invisible Enemy that I talked about.
Yeah, maybe. Probably a little bit. But I don't think genuinely there's many that are underrated.
No.
There'll be some where I'm surprised when I look at the Dawn ratings. I guess that they're quite where they are, but not substantially different.
No.
I think there are quite a number there are a number that are overrated.
Yes.
But we'll come on to that next
week. Next
Looking
week.
forward to that discussion.
I will too.
Yeah. And you should be too, listeners, because it would be great.
Stay tuned. So, should we get on to our review?
Yeah.
So we're going back to New York in New Who to review New Earth.
That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yes.
So the randomizer last week selected randomly, funnily enough, New Earth for me and the boy Moon to watch and share our thoughts with you. Now, what happens in this? I mean, basically, this is the first proper series episode with David Tennant as the Doctor, following his regeneration over Christmas, and in that one, he's not actually in it that much, is he? Really?
Not for the first part of it. Not for the first 40 minutes, maybe.
And most of it, he's still suffering from that regeneration sickness sort of thing. So this is the first time we really get to see him in full pout, really, isn't it? And he takes Rose off to New Earth, because we saw Earth destroyed in the Christopher Eccleston series.
Yes.
Rose would have witnessed that as well. So he takes her to see the New Earth. Rose initially thinks they're just sightseeing, but actually the Doctor has received a message requesting his assistance, which I think came from Bone, didn't it? Bone?
I think
Is that right? Yeah. Who on earth should be there but that stretchy piece of skin woman, Cassandra.
Yeah.
Who was meant to have been sort of like a model in a previous sort of life, and gradually sort of like enhanced her body over and over again until such an extent where she effectively became a big flap of skin.
Yeah.
I actually really like that whole concept. the Cassandra thing. The fact that, because these people that do constantly look to improve their bodies over and over again, and they usually do in those instances do quite the opposite. So it's quite a sort of a good take on that. I think.
It is quite good.
Cassandra finds a way into Rose's body, takes over it, and she's really excited because she's got some legs and everything again. Albeit a bit disturbed by the fact that she's now running around as a chav. In the meantime, the Doctor finds that the sort of cat nuns, have they got a proper name, the cat nuns?
Sisters of Peribulus or something.
Sisters of Cat Nunnery.
The Sisters of P something.
Yeah, Sisters of Cat Nunnery, we should call them. They've basically been finding cures for the human race, and they've got hidden away. It's large, a little bit like a sort of scientific lab that you'd normally see sort of rats and stuff like that in, where they experiment on sort of like mice, but instead they're doing it on humans that they've generated themselves, and they've infected them with every single virus ever, basically, to speed up their way of actually curing things. So that's probably enough of a that's probably enough of a sort of roundup, isn't
probably it? Is a bit. That is probably enough.
Yeah. So what do you make of it?
Personally, I think this is an all right episode. I mean, it's not one which would have come. It's not one which probably I would have suggested 52 stories into the randomizer if the randomizer was just us talking about episodes we wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Because it isn't necessarily what I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Again. But I find this episode, it's a really good idea, actually.
I like the idea.
And the look of it. Some of the look is quite good. Yeah.
What lets it down, because I think like you say, the concept is really good. The whole idea is really, really good. And it looks really cool. The bit when they're looking out over New York, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
And this is the case. We've talked about this on a number of episodes. There is the lovey thing, and I do find that a bit annoying. But there's these RTDisms that come into.
Yes.
And I tell you, there's a bit when, although there's elements that are quite funny, there's the bit where Cassandra.
Yeah.
When she's jumping from Rose's body into the Doctor's, and the Doctor's into Rose, and Rose into the Doctor. It's a bit annoying.
Two mutated human.
Yeah, I mean, there's bits of that. I can see what they're doing with it, and I imagine that would have been great fun for them to have filmed that bit.
Yeah.
But I don't really like it.
No.
There's other bits. There's a few bits in it which I really don't like as well.
But there are a lot of bits that we did like. So.
Yeah, there is. And let's say the actual whole idea for the story. The whole thing about them having all these sort of science humans to experiment on is really, really good. I like the character of Cassandra. I think that's really good.
So we won.
I like the face of Bo. We said earlier on, isn't he? Great character, the face of Bo. He's actually in a handful of episodes that people don't really like so much. Seems an odd episode to have properly kick-started David Tennant's era.
Yeah.
In that there's nothing really. It's not like sort of like the big bombastic opener for a series.
I mean, no, it isn't. I mean, if you think about it, Rose had that big thing opening New Who with the Autons and everything. Smith and Jones introduced Martha. We had Donna in Partners in Crime. We had Amy and all that fresh start with 11th Hour. We had all the Silence first story in The Impossible Astronaut. We had Sign with Daleks with basically every Dalek ever. We had Deep Breath with the 12th Doctor. And we had Magician's Apprentice with just an epic story with Davros and Missy and stuff.
Do you think? Oh, you touched on this just a minute ago, but do you find the lovey-doveyness a bit annoying?
I do find it a bit annoying, and it's a bit annoying that they had to do it in the story. It's an RTD written episode, but if they didn't do that whole thing, it's fun, it's entertaining, but it's just annoying. And if they didn't do that, this would be a really good episode, and it would be higher in my charts than it is.
I just think when you get bits like that, you can just imagine William Hartnell turning in his grave.
Yeah.
You know?
And Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee with him.
Please, no, take it away. But it's not without its charm. I like it. Do you think it's better or worse than the one where Earth blows up?
I don't think it's as good as that.
No, I don't think so either. What do you think of the interplay, aside from the romantic element of it, but the way that Rose, her interplay with David Tennant as against how she was with Christopher Eccleston? Who do you think she goes better with?
I don't know. I think she works quite well with Christopher Eccleston, I think.
It wasn't so flirty, was it?
It wasn't so flirty, no.
They definitely tried to introduce some sort of like love interest thing going on, and it was both sides, and it was. I think that I found that a little bit.
But Martha, it's all right because it's only her.
Yeah. It just seemed a bit sort of two-sided, didn't it? Really, and you thought, Doctor, you perv. You're like however many years old, and you're perving over this young child. It's an all right episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's certainly not one that if you were to watch that, you wouldn't necessarily think to yourself, "This is the best Pokemon ever."
No.
You wouldn't think, "I'm
this
going to rush
be
out."
An episode that I would have got into Doctor Who if I watched it first.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been. It's not a very good one for a season opener.
Good bits in it though.
Yeah.
So, for instance, the bit when all the diseased people are on the loose. I think the bit when when one of them touches the nurse, the nun cat thing, and immediately all that disease comes out. I don't know. It's a really cool looking bit. I really don't like the resolution of it. The whole the thing with the spoilers. The bit in the lift when there's all the cures and it's like the showering on the cure thing down them, and it just seems a little bit of a cheap ending.
It does seem a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's an obvious way to have got out of it, but it does feel a little bit cheap.
Yeah, but they couldn't have got out of it any other way, really. Any other obvious way. Did you think of one?
I know if I was writing that on Who to Face, it would have finished differently.
Okay.
It would have finished with basically all these people finding their way into New York.
I would have opened that space for a gridlock.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then, maybe then what would happen? It leads into it nicely because what would happen is the government would then end up having to destroy New York to wipe out the disease, and then that's why it's a destroyed state.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I could have written that.
Yeah.
Muscle RTD. I mean, RTD listens to Who to Face and with a moment of jealousy.
Yeah, and a notepad and a pen.
Yeah.
Chibnall. There you go. So, should we go on to scores?
We should do, yeah.
What do you think of the monsters?
The monsters.
Or villains?
Who would you class as the villains? Have you got a number there? Cassandra.
The cat nuns and the creature people, if you count them.
It's disappointing that Cassandra isn't Cassandra for that much.
I know.
I think she looks good. I think the cat people look really good, and I think the diseased people, they're not really villains as such, are they?
No.
But they're good. I'm going to give it about a 7.
Okay. Character development.
I'm going to give it 3 because of the romancy thing. Don't like.
Excitement.
About 7. It's quite exciting.
Okay, pace.
Quite my pace. 7.
Wait a sec. Okay, overall.
Overall, probably a 6. Scheme of things.
Okay, 30 out of 50.
Okay. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I suppose so. Probably would have given it a 7 as a score.
Yeah. I might be being harsh on it because I do like it. Really, it's a highly watchable one.
Yes.
You know when they talk about episodes of Who that you watch on a rainy day.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what it is to me. If you were lying in bed feeling a little bit yucky, and you thought, I think I feel really sorry for myself. I'm so ill. I think I'm watching Doctor Who. That's the sort of Doctor Who one that you want for 2 reasons. Partly because the pace of it is such that you feel quite, with your little hot water bottle watching New Earth, you feel like.
The 10th up goes, ooh, I need to samba.
But then also the fact is you realise that however ill you feel, you probably don't feel as bad as all these people with the diseases. Yeah. So there we are. That's my take on it.
That was your second watch of the episode.
It was.
Was it better or worse than you remembered it?
It was worse than I remembered it.
Okay.
I think I enjoyed it more last time because I think because I've watched a lot more of New Who since then. There's some of the things that perhaps annoyed me more now. Mainly all the lovey-dovey stuff.
So let's see what our review will be next week / over the next couple of weeks.
So yeah, it's time to dig out that magic randomizer, the spreadsheet of every Doctor Who episode ever.
And we click it and it comes up with an episode for us to review.
So all completely random as per the name of the randomizer.
So
what we got coming? Let's click onto it. You can hear the clicking going on. We're enabling all of the clever stuff. And here we go. What we got? So click to a few there because there was a couple that we don't actually have.
Do you want that one?
Yep. Let's go for this one.
Wait. Can you hold the tablet for a sec?
Go. Yeah.
Just need to.
So.
No.
So here we go.
No.
What have we got? So this week's I'm going to announce this.
No.
Probably
no. It's okay. I know. Sorry, everyone. I was just doing that. But next week we will be here for another review. And our review will be Fifth Doctor Classic episode. Very memorable one here. Earthshock.
So
have you ever seen this as a full story, apart from when you were younger?
I don't think I have. It is an episode I really remember from when I was growing up there.
Yeah.
So looking forward to this one.
Yes, Adric dies.
Oh no, you've ruined it for them. Sorry. So there we are. That's what we got next week.
Everyone knows.
Whilst we're on the whole randomizer front, and because we're getting to that point of the show, I think, are we?
Yes.
Yeah. Our final chunk for this week is Who to Face. Who to Face is basically a similar spreadsheet basically uses the same functionality as what we use with the randomizer, but it randomly picks a doctor, it randomly picks a villain, and then the two of us, off the top of our heads, try and create a story that we think would be quite cool to entertain you, the listeners. Usually, whichever one of us goes first panics a little bit, particularly if it's me, because I often don't know who the monsters are.
I'll explain it if you don't know, though.
Yeah. Okay, let's load it up. It is my turn to go first this week.
Yes, it is.
So,
let's
enable the macros again. And what do we have?
Okay. I can't even remember what they are.
First of all, let's click past them if you can't remember.
Can I look at the map?
Yeah. What are they? You just explain what they are whilst you're looking.
Mentors.
The Mentors.
I kind of recognise the name from somewhere. I'm just going to look it up. So.
Yeah. So we got the 10th Doctor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
10th Doctor and the Mentors.
Let's see. Sil. Those poo creatures.
Okay, so Seal is a mentor, is he?
The poo creature.
The Seal was actually in the Colin Baker era?
Vengeance on Varos and Mind Warp.
Okay. Okay, so here goes.
Okay.
Right, so I've got to think of a story now.
He likes to do real life things for entertainment.
Okay. Yeah,
Like real life deaths. Like in Vengeance on Varos, he tries to kill the Doctor for a TV show.
Okay, well that's giving me an idea then. So this one is called it's called The Rotten Flesh. Okay?
Yeah.
And what happens here? This one kicks off as the 10th Doctor. 10th Doctor with Rose. In an alternative universe.
Finally, not Donna and me.
Yeah. In an alternative universe where New Earth, where the diseased people terrorized New York City. And basically, Sil, as the mentor, is televising the impact on it. And basically, you place your bets as to how many people, how much of the population will die each night. The Doctor basically sort of stumbles across this fact. He sort of finds out that that in this alternative universe is going on. He's obviously really perturbed by it because he thought that he'd managed to prevent the disease. But actually it's wiping out really, really big chunks of New York. So Sil is there, sat there as the controller of the television station, making money, promoting the sort of dreadfulness of this disease. Doctor turns up. He can't recreate a cure because that's a silly ending. So instead, he starts to do what he can to get the diseased people out of New York into the desert area that surrounds it, because he figures that they can still lead a life, albeit not a normal life. They can still lead a life, but they obviously can't come into contact with other humans. So he tries to sort of create this sort of like area that they can live in. Okay. Sil is obviously really, really angry about this because it's damaging the ratings of his show. So he basically determines that the Doctor needs to die. So he sends out these sort of hitmen, these hit robots to try and kill the Doctor, and the Doctor sort of has to fight these robots. And then eventually, what happens is that he goes there, he finds Sil, and he drops Sil off right into the centre of the zone with all of the diseased people in, and it just ends with Sil sat there in the middle with all these diseased people going, oh!
Does he get him back?
But you don't really know. He just cuts out from there. And that's it.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes, that's a good story.
Wasn't bad, that, was it?
But that leads into my one.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what's in yours?
The dreaded vengeance.
Oh.
On brackets on Varos. The Doctor is now with Martha, and he's around, and he's just come back from. He's on his way to the TARDIS after Gridlock, and when he gets inside the TARDIS, Martha stops, and she swears she hears something behind her, and it's actually a television screen. And the television says it's like an empty house, and it says, "Who thinks that the infected humans will come back and try and wipe out the human race from the help of Sil?" And the leader of these infected creatures. So the Doctor and Martha head back to that place where the infected people were.
My area.
Your area.
Oh, I like where you're going with
and
that.
they find out that Sil hasn't been infected, but he's sort of made a way to let to just try and destroy the human race by convincing them by putting a hypnotizing sort of method onto the TV show.
Right.
So the transmission beams like a hypnosis ray and teleports them to that area.
Cool.
And the infected humans now have the power from Sil and his friend Mutos to change into normal humans as a disguise.
Sounds good. Brilliant. I don't know, they're quite good actually, aren't they?
They're both quite good.
They're both quite good.
Leading on from each other.
Yeah, indeed. What more could you ask us? First time we've done that, isn't it?
It is, a bit different.
So there we have it. That's this week's Super Base. Hope you enjoyed it. What we would be interested, if anyone else has thought about what they would want to do with the 10th Doctor and Sid, or the mentor. Sid. You feel free to actually provide your own storyline beneath this in the comments box for this podcast.
Do that, please.
So,
also, if you have any thoughts on this week's review story, New Earth, or any thoughts on next week's review story, Earthshock, then please post them in the comments below. So next week on episode 148 of the show, we have a little discussion on episodes which we think are overrated.
Okay, we look forward to that one. We'll also be reviewing Earthshock.
We will be having a game of quiz or question.
We'll be pressing the magic randomizer.
And we'll be having much more news. So we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah. We certainly have.
Lewis Moon signing off.
And Dr. Cool being cool.
Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week from 4 o'clock.